What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode number 11 of the Dudeality podcast, where our motto is living comfortably uncomfortable. My name is Ian Perez, as always, joined by Jonathan Mercado, Victor Rivera, and Chris Zora. We're four ordinary dudes with extraordinary dreams. Jonathan, take it away, dude.
Yo, so today is going to be an interesting day. It's going to be the first time we ever had a guest. And in today's episode, we're going to be interviewing a local great. Humbling saying, oh, I see your face, a local great. Now, what I mean by a local great is this is somebody that has achieved a level of success at a certain area in their field that I believe people are trying to achieve right now. And what I mean by local is he's in the community in the Round Rock surrounding areas, or Austin, I would say, that he's just a local guy that you could be bumping shoulders with. You can see him at the grocery store. You may see him on his new bicycle, and you may not know his story, or you may know his story, and you're just too afraid to ask. And so just like the Dudeality crew, we like to dissect successful people and kind of get the behind the story of how he got from where he was to where he is now. And so today's our guest is going to be Alex Morrison. I've known this guy for about almost 10 years. He's a barber. He cut my oldest son, who is now 13, his first haircut. So he was just a baby. So Alex here had the privilege to cut my son's firstborn's haircut. I think we fade him up or gave him a mohawk. I don't remember what it was. Pretty sure it was a fade. And over the years, I got to see this guy evolve from literally hustling the barbershop thing, where he would go from barbershop to barbershop. We would follow him. And sometimes I would lose connections with this guy because he's at a different barbershop. So he was just on the go doing the whole barber cutting hair thing, perfecting his craft. And then to where he is now, not only does he own one barbershop, Generation Barbershop, he owns two barbershops. And as you can see, if you're watching this on YouTube, he has like 50-foot ceilings. And so he's at a level that I would say that people are trying to aspire to be, and he's going to give us the blueprint today. So thank you so much, Alex, for jumping on this podcast with us. We appreciate you. And
yes,
man,
sir.
Hey, start this off, man. As always, how was your week, man? Just let us know how your week was going.
Oh man, it's been pretty laid back. Today, the sun was out, so they lifted the mask ban in Austin, but I saw people still wearing their masks, but they were out 100%. Everybody is at Lowe's buying yard equipment and flowers and trees, and that was me out there today. I'm trying to get this yard back after that big old freeze we had. So I've been doing yard work. I went out and bought a bike. The sun was out. I want to start riding my bike, getting my cardio in, keeping my weight good. I'm getting a little older, as he say. I've been cutting his son hair, or I was cutting his son hair when he was a baby. Now he's like bigger than me. So,
yeah,
trying to maintain his health and living a good life, man.
And it's funny you say that. I actually went to Home Depot today because I needed some nuts and some bolts. We just moved to a new house, and so my wife has me doing projects and whatnot. And Home Depot was like going into the mall. It was packed. I was like, it's Home Depot. It was packed. I was like, oh dang. And so
if you have a yard, that freeze killed everything. And so on a day like today, everybody had the same idea, going out and buying new plants and trees. And man, the lines were ridiculous today.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely saw that. I thought it was a special going on. Like it didn't even cross my mind that people, like the ban was lifted, like people are getting out.
Right. They were out today. I was thinking the same, like it must be 80% off over here today.
It's Black Friday.
No. Yeah. In the plant department.
No, for sure. Fellas, Vic, how was your week, my man?
Man, it was good. What is it? We celebrated my daughter's 5th birthday. She turned 5. So it was a lot of work, but man, we had a lot of fun. Most importantly, she had a blast. We did a Selena theme birthday, did a little parade, birthday parade. Friends came out. I appreciate you two guys coming out and your families coming out. And it was fun, man. It was a lot of fun. But I'm glad it's over, man. It's a lot of cleanup today
Yeah.
from yesterday.
That's probably the best things is when I went to do the drive-by and go visit them on her birthday, she had the biggest smile on her face. And it made me want a girl. Like, I know I got like 20 kids,
Oh,
but man, I told Desi, I was like, man, just to see her smile, see her dressed up as Selena. And I was like, oh, baby girl. I was like, I might just have to go like put myself on Facebook. Like, anybody looking for a girl? Because Desi, she's done. Like, bro, she's done. She's not
yeah,
popping out no
bro.
more babies. She's like, this is it, dude. No more.
How many boys you got now, Jonathan?
4.
That's crazy. No luck with the girls.
Oh, no luck, man.
It's all your fault too, man.
Desi
You
needed to do
pick
some
it.
work. Desi wasn't doing no work. She
Oh,
lazy.
man.
Hey, Chris, what's happening over there in your neck of the woods?
My week kind of felt like 2 separate weeks, to be honest. Early in the week, when I was off, it was very productive. I got a lot of stuff done. I try to utilize the calendar blocking that we talked about last week, and I did see some more results, so that was cool. But then the work week itself, that was a whole nother ballgame. And as I was
What happened today?
so as I was briefly mentioning to them before we started filming, I had a patient who decided they wanted to piss all over the table. It's over a $2 million machine.
Jeez.
And she squeezed the emergency call ball to get a hold of my attention, and she said, "Oh, I need to pee." I was like, "Is this something that can wait?" She's like, "No, I need to go." So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna pull you out, and then we'll take you to the bathroom." I pull her out, and she's like, "Oh, I already went." And I was like, "Are you serious?" And then I was like, "Well, she already went now, so I'm not going to move her out of her position, because I don't want to start all over again." So I put her back in, and I finished up, and then I was calling someone to bring her back to her room. I go back in there, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I pissed again, or I peed again." And I was like, "Are you serious?" So there was like a puddle on the floor. There was a bunch of pee like all over the table, all over the machine. It was disgusting, and yeah, it was not fun.
Chris, I'm gonna need you to operate at a higher level and be like, I got you. Don't worry about this pee. I'm gonna clean it up for you.
You could have held a bucket or a cup, just help her out. Like you left her sitting in the
Well,
crib. Come on, dude.
Well, she's
is
the
mad.
one. She peed before. I was pissed, man. I was mad. Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Man,
and she
next
peed
time I go
before I
get
even
an
had a
MRI, I'm
chance
gonna
to
pee
bring her
all over
out.
the place.
Funny, dude. That sucks.
Mr. Ian, what's happening, baby?
Last week was fun. My daughter and I have been spending a lot of time together because she started volleyball. And I can tell she's really loving it because other sports she's tried, she hasn't really wanted to like practice outside of the practice she has. So we were actually at the park pretty much every day last week for like 30 minutes to an hour. So, and I made a comment to my wife and I was like, man, because normally her and I butt heads. I'm real headstrong. She's very headstrong as an 11-year-old girl she is. So we butt heads a lot. And I was like, yes, this is probably the best stretch of a week we've had in a while. And she was like, it's probably because y'all are just spending a lot more time together. And that's actually what it was. It's just the fact that we're around each other and there's less down like space in between when we interact. We can kind of catch each other's kind of mood a little bit easier just because we're always there. So, but now it's spring break and she's with her grandma. So gonna have to start all over when she comes back. But it was a good week for me, man. I really enjoyed it.
I like your progress with the little one. All right, man. Let's go ahead. Alex, you ready, baby?
Let's
People
do
want
it,
to know,
man.
especially my kid, Alex. I told my son in the car ride, I was like, hey, I want to interview Alex. He's all like, ooh, he's like, yep, that's a good one, Dad. He's all like, yep, he went from barbershop to barbershop, and now look at him. He's like, so my son even said, he's like, I want to know what changed. And so before we get into the shift, right, what shifted from barber to owner, I want to go into the early childhood. I want to know, what was your upbringing like? Did you have siblings? Did they pick on you? I want to know, like, from elementary to, middle school and high school. Like, just walk me through it. Were you into sports?
All right, y'all want to get deep? That sounds
Yeah,
fun.
I mean, it's important. I want to know how your brain functions at an early age because that kind of what cultivates you.
What made the legend?
That's like what made you. That's what your parents fed you. Your surroundings, your environment. Because a lot of people want to look at you, Alex, and they want to see, oh, it's probably handed to them, right? Because they can only see Alex now. They didn't see Alex back in the day.
Right. Well, there's definitely a story to it and a method to what happened in my life. I grew up, I have 3 siblings, an older sister and a younger sister and a younger brother. My little brother is actually a barber. So, and my dad also went to barber school. So he didn't finish, but this is definitely a path that's in the family. My grandmother was a beautician. She did hair and everything. But growing up, my dad, he was always self-employed. You know, he was an independent contractor. He owned his own landscaping company. He also owned a carpet cleaning service.
Oh.
And in the summertimes, that's what I would do. I would go to work with him. And, you know, it's kind of weird because I see these kids now, their expectation of parents is so crazy. You know, they expect, you know, when they turn 16 to have a brand new car and, you know, just like that comes with life. And if you ask them to do something for you, then they expect compensation. Well, I would probably work every day with my dad in the summer, you know, and he had pretty big contracts. Like we would do lawn care at like hospitals and nursing homes. So it's big, I mean, big fields of grass and leaves to rake and weeds to pull. We would do all this, and at the end of the day, he would stop me by a corner store and buy me a bag of chips and a soda water.
There you go.
I never thought. I didn't see nothing wrong with it. As a young kid, I thought this was, you know, what I was supposed to be doing.
Expected, right?
Yeah, it was just.
How old were you?
I was probably like 13, 14 at the time. I know I was in middle school, probably going into high school, because I remember wanting like the Jordans and stuff. I never wore that stuff, but what they would do is buy me a pair of Nikes. You know, when school started, I would get a pair of Nikes. I didn't wear the Jordans and stuff. I never had a pair of Jordans till I had a job. So, you know, just to expect, like I say, the expectations of the kids is totally different than how I grew up. I grew up with, you know, my grandparents had land where they had, you know, watermelon fields. We would go out there and pick watermelons, throw them on the truck. I'm from the country. I'm from a small town called Rockdale. So a lot of this stuff is like, it's not city life. I felt like I love the city, but I am definitely a country boy. So we would do that. My grandpa would come pick us up on the weekends, and he would have people in the neighborhood that would like scrape their food out into buckets through the week to feed his hogs. So we would go around and we would take these buckets from the neighborhood people and take them out to the country and feed his hogs. And this was my upbringing. Like it was work, but it was fun.
Work ethic. So, yeah. So what I'm hearing is crazy work ethic without expectations, right? Because it was just, this is what it's done. This is just how it is. We work hard. I like it. I did not catch you as a country guy.
Yeah, my grandparents also had like a bar. And so on Saturday nights, you know, everybody drinking beer and everything, we would go, the trash cans would be full of beer cans. On Sunday mornings, he would come get us. We would go out there, me and my cousins and my siblings, we would crush the cans up, take them downtown Rockdale, and we would sell the cans, the aluminum. And we would have like $10 in our pocket. We was good. And he didn't pay us for that, but we got paid from the cans that we took. So there was definitely, you know, as far as me being, you know, the worker that I am, you know, that was definitely, you know, part of my growing up.
I got a question. Did you play sports at all? Did you get into sports?
Oh, yeah. I played all sports till I was a freshman. When I was a freshman, I quit everything and just played basketball. I played basketball till I graduated.
Were you any good?
I was pretty good, man. I was more of a street baller. I ain't gonna lie. I was more of a street baller than the pass the ball left and run right guy. I could give you buckets, but on my program.
that sounds like me.
Yeah. So there's a lot of ISO going on there.
On the playground, I was an all-star. I'm a playground all-star.
Great. I mean, Alex, like if you don't know about any of us, we all play ball together.
Oh, really?
Like that's one thing we have in common. I thought I was gonna go pro. I don't know if you remember, I had a tattoo of a basketball on my arm with flames because at age 16, I wanted people to know I was that guy.
Yes.
Like that dude with the tattoo, he's legit. He's going to school. He's balling on everyone. Like I thought I was gonna go pro, bro. Like literally.
So all of y'all went to high school together?
No. We play like we just love basketball.
yeah.
Like we play right now.
Okay.
You don't want none, Alex.
Man.
You might want to check your joints.
Hey, I never thought basketball would be my life, like a career or anything. But I love the basketball, man. I could play basketball. We was mostly outdoors, so till the sun go down. I mean that's how we played basketball, and that was definitely a fun part of my life. You know, basketball. Definitely.
Did you get into any trouble in school?
Not too much. Not too much. No. I probably went to detention maybe one time in high school for probably something I didn't do. I was okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I wasn't a bad kid, man.
All right. So we got into a work ethic. We played all the sports. By age 17, you stopped, except for basketball because you just really loved it. Let's go into cutting hair. At what point did you decide like, hey, this is the route I wanted to take? Was it really early? Like, yo, I'm going to be a barber one day. I'm going to own shops. Like, how did you transition to cutting hair? Like,
okay. So when I graduated, college wasn't in the cards for me, but I wanted to go to work. I told my parents to, take me to get a job. I didn't want to like put them in debt behind college. I grazed through high school. And that's one thing I know, like I tell parents all the time, don't force your kids to go to college and get debt. If they wasn't doing what they were supposed to do in high school, then don't send them to college just to make a Facebook post to say, little junior went to college. Now little junior's, he went for a semester or two and he's back at home working at HEB and he's got all of this debt because people wanted to make a Facebook post. But I was never that kid. I told my parents, like, let's go get a job. So once I took off pretty well. I used to make picture frames, if you don't know. My first job was I was a picture frame maker. This is crazy. So
man, are we talking like what year are we in? The 1800s?
1995. 1995, man.
Still make those. If you go to Michael's, they have this picture frame department.
Yes, I was good at it, man. They paid me well. They had a pay scale of 1 through 5. By the time I was 19, I was already at a 5 through the work ethic. I was the one that, wanted to learn how to be more efficient with making picture frames. So there was a lot of jealousy because, it was a factory type job and, a lot of older people were doing this. And here I am, a young, fresh out of high school already at a number 5 level.
Yeah.
I couldn't go no higher other than supervisor or, something like that. And, I hadn't had that education to have that. So that's kind of how that went. So I think about 24. When I was about 24, I started thinking of like, man, being a barber would be something that, pretty cool to do. And but I was invested in this job, and I would work from morning like 7 to 3 or something like that. So I knew it was the same hours as barber school. I had a daughter, so I couldn't just quit my job, which was good at the time. I don't know, it's probably $12, $13 an hour back then, which was probably decent money in 1995. But so it was on my mind. I just never could get to it.
So when you had your daughter, is that what shifted you to like, all right, I need to do something else?
Well, what happened was I was there 9 years. Well, I think they had this going into your 10th year, you get a big bonus and a lot more vacation and everything they had planned. But China started making picture frames a whole lot cheaper than the United States. So everything, the business started to fail. Like, so, I mean, they started doing a lot of laying off, and I was so good at it, they kept me to the end. And they would have meetings, and they was like, okay, we need 20 people to quit their job today. Who's down? I had been to 2 or 3 of these meetings. So I'm like, it's over with. I'm out of here. So they called me in a meeting and said, we really don't want you to quit. Hang on and stay in here. We're gonna try to ride this thing out, and you've been good here. But eventually they closed, and they happened to give everybody who stayed to the last a nice severance package. So if they would have let me go when I raised my hand, I wouldn't have had that money, which that money funded my barber school.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. So what age are you going to barber school? So wait a minute. Barber school means you're going to go to school and you're not going to have a job, right?
Right. Oh man, I love this. Is fun. This is fun. My story is crazy.
Man, so, come on. You got a baby to take care of. What you going to do?
Yeah. So of course we get unemployment because they closed down. We getting a severance. My money is good. So on unemployment, you have to do job searches. So one day I walk in Home Depot and I see the computer over there to apply. I'm doing my due diligence, so I can tell unemployment. I applied at Home Depot. They didn't hire me. I had already started barber school. My money was fine, but it was kind of dwindling a little bit,
Yeah.
Home Depot calls me.
Oh,
I did not want to go work at Home Depot, but it was overnight. It was on a night crew, so I could go to school in the morning, at barber school in the morning, and work at Home Depot at night. And then it turned out to be a pretty cool job. Me and my supervisor was good. He was a young guy. He would, when I would oversleep because I was tired from barber school, he would, make sure my hours met at the end, because all you had to do was 40 hours, regardless of how you got it.
Yeah.
So that's I'm like 29 at this point.
29.
I'm 29, working at home.
You're just getting started.
Yeah. And side note, at the same time I've had a job, barber school was a hard year for me. Like I say, the money was running out, but getting money from Home Depot and then I kept calling unemployment. They kept sending me checks. So at the end of the day, once that calendar year turned, I owed that money back. So y'all don't mess with unemployment. I know a lot of people got this unemployment and all this government assistance. They gonna want their money back, and that's how it was for me. So I wouldn't change nothing. I didn't go to jail. They didn't threaten me. They just said, you owe us some money. We need it back.
Yeah.
And I had to pay it back. But that money did help me get through barber school.
Okay.
So, Home Depot was paying me like, I want to say the checks were like $630 every 2 weeks. Remember that number, $630.
$630. Write it down.
2 weeks of work. $300 a week.
Man. All right. So you're in barber school. You graduate barber school. Now you're cutting hair.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like being a barber, going from, like, what made you go from different barbershops? Like, what was the problem? How come you kept going to barbershop to barbershop?
All right. Well, I tell people, I just did a class at the barber school in Austin here last week. And being a barber, you're fearful. You're scared that people won't like you. You're scared, am I good enough? Y'all see my man Chris got the beard. His looks lined up. Chris coming there ready to spend $40 with you. You can't mess him up. You know what I'm saying? So there's definitely a fear to leave the barber school to go into a real barbershop. So I had finished barber school and I stayed at Home Depot. I was just like, all right, I don't know if I'm ready yet. I would go back to the school on Saturdays on my off day and still cut hair at the school, like for free. I'm still scared of it. But eventually I got over it. You know, what happened was Home Depot fired me. I had sick time. Now, that's why like clocking in ain't for me. I had sick time. The Home Depot was located right by IHOP. So I'm working overnight. I call in sick. I was hungry. I go to IHOP. I go to IHOP. Right at a shift change. They would get off from Home Depot and go eat at IHOP. I walk in there and I see, 3 or 4 people that I work with. It gets back the next morning that Alex wasn't sick. He ate at IHOP last night.
Oh man.
Job over with.
Because of some pancakes.
Because you were hungry.
Because I was hungry and I had sick time and they knew it. But they also knew I had finished barber school. So they knew that my time was ending with them.
Yeah.
So I think they felt like, let's part ways with him before he parts ways with us. Crazy. This is one of the craziest stories though. That morning, so I get off at Home Depot like 5:30 in the morning. About 6 o'clock, I get a phone call. I was trying to put my name out there for other jobs. Like I said, I was on unemployment. So Round Rock Outlet Mall was opening this same morning. I get a call from them, and they told me that they hired me. I'm just walking out from home. I don't even think I got in my car yet from Home Depot. I'm already got a job at Round Rock Outlets on the first day. Now, I had no idea what they wanted me to do there. They just told me to show up. I get there. It's like 3 or 4 of us. We meet in like a little side office. They hand us a roll of paper towels and some Windex, like hand sanitizer, whatever, something to clean tables with. I'm on the first. Now, mind you, this is like today. Like I said, everybody's out today in Austin because it's beautiful. This is the first weekend of Round Rock Outlet Mall. Everybody is there. So I'm seeing all the people that come to the barber school. They say, man, I thought you was going to cut hair. What you doing? Cleaning tables.
Calling you out.
Calling me out. Okay, so now it's about lunchtime. Mind you, I had just got off work and I haven't ate nothing. So I called the number that called me. I don't know who my leader is here or nothing. I said, is it okay if I take a break? I haven't ate anything. And the lady said, clean a few more tables, take out a few more trashes, and you can take a break. I did that. And so I sit down in the food court and I made a life-changing decision. I said, this ain't for me. I have a barber license. I am going to be a barber. I called her back. I said, ma'am, it's 11:30. I don't know where to clock out at, but I am out of here. She said, if you leave this job, we will never help you get another one because it was a temp service. I said, I would never need another job. I'm going to be a barber. And that was it. That was the last job I had.
You made that decision. I mean, man.
I made
we all have that moment, right?
I made that decision in Round Rock Food Court.
I love it, brother. Like, man, that's an important decision to make. I think majority of the people who make it in the world, they have to make that decision, right? Vic talked about it. There has to be that moment where you're like, this is not me. Like, I cannot do it no more.
Your back has to be against the wall.
Yeah.
If anything you do when you're talking successful and taking a leap of faith, you can't, if you have something going on where you're okay, you got some money over here, you're doing good here or there, you're not, it's not gonna come that way.
Too much
cushion.
cushion.
Have to be at the end, you have to be like, this is it, swim or drown. And that's what it was for me. Like, I had to go and say, all right, man, this has to work. I have to be who I'm intended to be, and I'll have to be all in. To be all in.
Man, you said it right there. That speaks so much. I can relate. A lot of us can relate. We've all made that jump. All my jumps, it's been a free for all. Like Alex, I don't know if I was gonna make it or not, but I knew I'm going to swim. Like
Right,
I'm going to swim, brother, no matter what happens. All right, so you're in barber school. What's it like? So you're a new cat. You're going into a new shop and you have a bunch of old guys. Like, I mean, I remember you didn't have a bunch of new guys you were working with. Like there were some old timers in there. What's that like for any new barber that's going to be in a new barber shop?
Well, I don't remember where you came, Jonathan. Did you come at Delton's or?
I was before Delton's.
Okay, all right. So my first barbershop is Sue's.
Sue's, yep, that's where I came.
Okay, I'm at Sue's, and at first it was a lot of Asian people working there, and what was crazy is Sue's is on Rumberg, a street in Austin, and I was living on that street, so I would pass that shop every day when I was going to make the picture frames, and I would see people over there, but I never knew what was going on, But what happened was one of the guys working there knew me, and he heard I was finished with barber school, so he gave me a call. It was a back to school weekend. Like I say, it was like the outlet open, back to school weekend, all this stuff was going. He's like, you should come help us out. Come see if you like the shop. So I go over there, and me and him was the only two black guys there at the time. Everybody else was Asian.
I remember that.
Right. So when you go into a barbershop that was predominantly Hispanic and black, as a young black man, and I was full of energy, man. I was happy to be there. All the Asian people, they didn't even really speak English. So here I come. I know about, the game last night on, ESPN. I watched football. I'm all into everything. I'm into the music. I know about things that's going on in the city. So I kind of took off. I was like the golden child there. So it took off for me pretty fast there, being that young guy. It happened really fast.
Yeah, I remember being in there. It was busy. Like I ran into
those
Alex
Asian people were
on
good,
accident.
man.
I didn't even.
They were great barbers in there. Like Asian people, I don't know if y'all ever worked with them, but they can pick up a skill like faster than I've ever seen. I saw an Asian lady come in there and she was jacking people up. Within a week, she was like one of the best barbers I had ever seen. It was unreal.
So they have like a system, man. Like they're trying to be efficient as fast as possible, get to the next person. Because never have I ever seen a clipper that has a vacuum attached to it.
Right.
So they were like getting both done. So they didn't need a sweep. So they're like on to the next. Like that's how it was. Like that's the thinking they're at. Like systematically, this is how we're going to roll.
Yeah.
I used to see those. Like I used to go to a barbershop that had that too.
Yeah, they didn't play no games. But I ran into Alex on accident. Actually, I picked the number. Like I was so intimidated going to a new barbershop. There were so many barbers in there. And I didn't know if I was gonna get stabbed or not. Cause I don't know if y'all know Rumberg. It's pretty rough.
It's very rough.
And I grew up rough. And so I'm like, I'm still young, so I'm a little hot-headed. So I'm like, man, Jonathan, like, just chill, bro. Like, cause if anybody looks at me at age 18, I'm like, what you looking at? Like, that's just like the mind, that's the Jonathan mindset. And I was like, man, Jonathan, like, chill out. How do I sat down for like 20 minutes not knowing I needed to pull a ticket because nobody would talk to you. Like, I'm like, then some dude was all like, hey, bro, you need to grab a ticket. And I was like, oh man, I appreciate it. And then I happened to get Alex.
Yeah, that system was definitely a plan to like keep her business strong and not help the barber out.
Yeah.
But I mean, it worked for us. It really did. So that place is where I really learned what it does is it takes your name away from you. Like at Generations, the shop that I own, we like to get to know people by their name. Over there, it was like take a number and you don't get to know these people. So when that barber leaves, you were just a number anyway. So you keep your business there because he never knew your name was Jonathan.
You don't get your regulars.
Right. So it was definitely a system. And, to each their own, her business system did work for the most part, for us financially. It just didn't help her like keep barbers there. We had a really nice team there one time, probably the best team that I ever worked on with some of the best barbers in Austin at the time. And, her business, she didn't care nothing about the barber.
Yeah, I got you. There's a lot of turnover rate.
She had a lot of turnover.
All right. Now, what made you leave?
Well, it was two things. My clientele was going pretty big, and I'm thinking like, okay, I'm planning myself down into shop. A lot of people really like me here. I felt like she was overcharging me, and for me being one of her top barbers there, and I felt like I wanted to take another day off a week, to allow, because I don't know, people gravitated towards me a lot. And I had good friends there. I had some friends that when I got there, I called back to the barber school and like, I don't know where y'all going to work at, but it's a lot of money on Runberg. Y'all might want to come over here. So with me wanting to make sure that everybody else was fine, I asked her, to lower my rent and to let me take another day off. This day I talked to her, she didn't work there on the weekday. She would cut hair on the weekends. So this day was a weekday, maybe like a Thursday or something. And I called her and she came up there to talk to me. And the end of the conversation, she said, just think about what you're doing, go ahead and finish your day, just be cool. She talked about giving me a percentage of her business, which I never knew what her business was worth. I felt like she was just kind of running game on me. So she kept a lot of drama. I had one of my best friends work there, and sometimes I felt like she was trying to tear us apart. Just a lot of stuff that I felt like wasn't necessary. So
Yeah.
What happened was I started, like I said, getting my clientele together because I was planning a move, but I didn't have a plan. So happened, she fired Delton maybe like a month before.
Delton's the guy that owned his barbershop.
Yeah, so the shop that didn't know I was going to was definitely in the process. I didn't know this was going on, but when at the end of the day, she had told me, she's like, Alex, I'm not gonna change anything. And I said, okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and go. And she said, fine. I was worth a lot. I felt like I was worth a lot to her, but she allowed me to leave being one of her top barbers. And Delton had just opened his shop in Pflugerville. She had fired him like a month before. So just to put the numbers out there, I went from paying her $500 a week, it's $2,000 a month. I was definitely successful there. I met her probably with $100 in my bank account. In 6 months, I was building a house from the ground up. I had paid off my car that I came there with and bought a new one. So in the 2 years that I worked for her, I was definitely a successful barber. But like I said, it was getting to the point where I knew who I was as a barber, and I didn't feel like I need to pay somebody $500 a week, $2,000 a month to cut hair. So when Delton called me, he had opened his shop. He said, come check this out over here in Pflugerville. And I was like, okay. So when I get there, he said, well, if you start here, your booth rent will be $90. So I go from paying $500 a week to $90 a week. I already saved money there.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
I got a question. So as a barber, you're more of a contractor, I guess, with the barber shop rather than as an employee, right? So you brought up like rent and stuff like that. So while you're working there making your money, you're still paying rent to I guess rent out the space, which I didn't really know until I kind of heard from another barber that I go to, and you brought it up again. So that's nuts to me. It's crazy because
you pay for
I'm
the
9 to
chair.
5, so like I don't get charged to work in my desk, but the fact that you do it blows my mind.
Yeah.
I got a question, because I don't know, what does an average barber make in, cutting hair? Like, is it something that people can really make a lot of bread with, or like, what's that like?
The spectrum is wide, Jonathan. It's really
so
wide.
Go from median to like high end. Like if you're like,
I would say we're just gonna talk hair cutting, not selling products or anything like that. I'm willing to think that at your peak, you're probably making about $2,000 a week, somewhere in there in that range, and then at the lowest, you could be making $300 a week. Just because they're independent contractors. You know, if you show up on time, you build your clientele, you can easily get to $2,000 a week.
So, but with that, you got to have an entrepreneurial mindset.
Right.
If you want to get to the peak, right? You just can't go from 8 to 5. I want to cut hair type deal, right?
Yeah. And I don't know this to be true, but I do hear this being, gossip sometimes. Like some people get into this business because there's no drug testing. You want to smoke a little weed, you want to hang out all night and do all that stuff. When I came into it, I think I was more mature. I never been like into stuff like that, first of all, but I didn't really have a lot of vices that would like stir me away from going to bed on time to get up and go to work the next morning.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was dedicated to it.
So I was just asking because I know it's attractive. Like it's attracting a lot of young generations right now to be like the barber and do the Instagram and have the tats and smoke weed.
This is another thing, Jonathan. It's cool to be a barber, and there's fame in being a barber. But if that's your thing, then you're probably not doing well at it. Because some people just want one or the other. I needed an income. This was my job. I didn't care who knew me, but with the amount of people that I touched, I had the fame. If I go somewhere, they know me. You know what I'm saying? So that came naturally. A lot of people go with social media and try to get all these likes and people to follow them, but they're not doing the work.
Yeah. So at this point, how old are you?
When I get to Delton's, I'm 31. I have 2 cars, nice home. Life is good.
And so there's no aspirations at this point. You still just want to cut hair, build your client. Like you're good.
Hair. Still just want to cut hair. I wasn't on opening my own shop. It never even crossed my mind, I don't think, as a young barber. And maybe that's changed because there are shops popping up a lot more than it was when I came in it. But yeah, coming into the business, I was really trying to just maintain a good life. I didn't know I'd have expectations.
Okay. So you're cutting hair, you went to a different barbershop and you go to you keep cutting hair. I want to know, when was the point where you cut somebody's hair and you're like, I want to own my own stuff?
All right.
When did you get there? How many years? How old were you? Like, when did that happen? When did the shift?
So I'm at Delton's, and Delton had a 3-man shop. I had just came from Sue's, which like 10 to 12 of us. And so at Delton's, it's me and him and a part-time barber. And it became to be, I don't know, I felt like a lot of people were liking me. The shop name was Delton's, but a lot of people were coming there and to see me. And, Delton was an owner and maybe he was wanting to step back a little more. So I became more attractive, I felt like. And at the end of the day, there might be some jealousy. I don't know, if you talk to him, it might be some, something different. But I felt like, I was a good employee there, good barber there. But he said at the end of it, he wanted me to leave and out of the blue, so at this point, I felt like I had worked for 2 bad owners. So I watched both of them carefully. And so once he did that, my mindset changed. Like, if they can have their own business and run it this way, I definitely can do this. I have people skills. I've been through the trenches as far as this barber game. I'm ready to. I'm thinking now. Once I leave there, I'm thinking wherever I go, I'm building my own shop from there.
All right. You made the decision, right? So you're like, man, what if he could do it, I could do it better. You've seen that.
Right.
All right. Being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, that's scary. Now
right.
you have to learn a lot of things that you don't know, right? And that's what holds a lot of people back from being an employee or a self-contractor is, I know how to do this, right? I know how to do this. I do it every day. I'm an employee. I do it every day. I cut hair every day. That's cool. But being a business owner, there's a lot of logistics. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of risk. How'd you make that transfer? What'd you do in between? Did you work in between? Because I know you had some bread to make to put down on a place. You had to
Yeah.
find logos. You had to create a name. Like, take me through the next step. This is me starting my business.
Okay. So the next step is I find a shop that I can work. I felt like I never want to work for somebody that I would feel that I think I would be in competition with. So that's when we go to Salon M. Salon M is a beauty shop. And
That's
she
by
has
Tinseltown, right? In Pflugerville.
Right. So she has some chairs in the back for a couple barbers. And I'm like, this is probably the best place for me. I don't have to deal with jealousy from the owner. We're not in competition. I can come over here and make all the money I can run my business how I wanted to, because I was a soldier. If Delton said do it this way or Sue said do it this way, that's what I would do. So I never experienced what it's like to do things my way until I get to Salon M. So that's kind of where I start having the idea of generations. When I came there, I told them that I'm coming here to work to eventually own my own shop. So I didn't go in there like, no BS to them, like, I'm gonna be here for life. I wasn't that. I was straight up with them. I think I told them day one, like, I'm doing my own thing when I get this money. But on the side note of that, I did have a business partner in the beginning. And I don't know this to be true, but we walked in a lot of banks. We had good credit. At the time, we probably, both had good bank accounts, good amount of money saved up. They would tell us no. So my partnership.
You're trying to get money to rent out.
Right. To own the business, to pay for somebody, the contractor, everything. So what happened at the end, I had more money than he did. So when we would have got a loan, we'd have paid it back 50-50. But if I'm gonna take my 20,000 and you have 10, it wouldn't match. We can only go into it, as equal as it would just be a problem. So that ended my partnership with one of my good friends. We're still good friends to today. And we probably both, better off this way. Kind of hard to have a business with two people. Two people with different ideas.
Yeah, two different ideas, two different says, two different personalities.
So, at this point in my life, I probably wouldn't do business partners on major projects. Maybe small things, where it ain't so much, I'm doing all the work and you're reaping the benefits, stuff like that you don't want to get into. So that's a no. Never have a business partner on a major thing. Keep it small if you're gonna have a business partner.
All right, I'm cutting everyone out. Y'all out.
because if it got to be something you do on the side. It can't be like this is our income, because people come to me all the time and say, Alex, if you open up another shop, let me invest. And I'm thinking, well, I'm a barber. I still, wipe toilet seats and fill up paper towels and mop floors. So if I do a partnership with you, then you just drive up and pick up money while I'm in here doing the work. So it makes no sense. So
people want to come when you're already rolling.
Right.
You gotta come with me at the very beginning when it started with nothing.
Yes. I would never open a generation as a partnership. I would definitely sell them though. Hopefully one day people can, say, well, I want one, I want my own, and I need you to help me get there. I do have vision of stuff like that, but I don't want to be tied to it.
Yeah. No, I feel
only by name.
Now you're going by yourself. What obstacles did you hit? What roadblocks did you hit starting your own business?
Okay, so like I said,
I know you hit some.
The banks, man, we would dress up, suit and ties, briefcases, young men.
Empty briefcases.
Oh man, because we had a financial advisor, and he would we would practice. we had it together, man. We had it together. Probably 750 credit scores, money. And they would tell us stuff like, oh, well, we're going to have our supervisor or whatever look at it. And, 2-3 weeks later, a month, we're not doing barbershops right now. We'll go in a different direction. Good luck to you. So that was probably the hardest part. Then after that, so I got aggressive. I got aggressive, man, with cutting hair. Probably added, more hours. Probably, save. I was saving. I want to say I was saving like $2,000 a month at the time that when I decided, okay, I don't have a partner. His barbershop is fine, and also Salon M was going out of business. I think they were in the final year of their contract and they didn't want to renew. So I was about to be homeless, so I had to be aggressive. So by the time I end up ready to open Generations, I had about $70,000 of my own money. I didn't need a loan.
No, discipline, man. So that right there is, I was gonna say, the problem is when you're trying to start your own business, they're gonna see your money, your bank accounts, your credit history, and the third thing they're gonna look at is your experience.
Mm-hmm.
They're not gonna loan you money when you never experience a big loan like that, and it's hard because how am I gonna have that experience if I never got started? And so what popped in my head is you need to be your own bank account.
Yeah,
like, bro,
I think at the time somebody talked to me about that, becoming your own bank. And I definitely, when I got to the second shop, I never called them. I never called them again. I felt, I definitely felt slighted by the bank systems. But that's what it takes, man. Getting these loans, and I just feel like God had his hand on me, to be honest with you. I haven't made a lot of mistakes. Getting a loan would have probably been a mistake, because what would happen is,
I love it.
I'm starting a business. I have the rent of the brick and mortar to pay, and also I have a loan to pay back. So now I signed a 5-year deal. So now I'm spending like 4 of these years, or probably all of them, paying back a bank loan. I never had to worry about that. So it was like,
awesome,
God was telling, God turned me down because he said a better plan for me than I thought.
There it is, man. You got to turn that negative into a positive.
Oh,
and
definitely.
He's trying to push you into a certain direction. A lot of people don't see it, and they'll just turn around and leave. They'll call it, oh, nope, it's done.
People will quit.
Your obsession. Your obsession is ridiculous.
I had no quit. I had a meeting one time with my accountant. This is around the time I'm opening the second shop, and he said to me, what happens if it fails? And it was crazy because I had never planned failure. When he said that, I'm like, oh, you know what? I never thought about that, because everything I'm doing makes so much sense to me that I don't even see failure. This is,
what you talking about?
Fail. It's not gonna fail.
All
not
right,
not
awesome.
in barbering. Not in barbering. Not with me and barbering. Me and barbering are hand in hand.
Yeah. All right. So now you opened up your business. Banks are giving you trouble. You overcame that. You became your own bank account, raised up of $70K of your own money, which is insane. Of that discipline.
That's someone's
3
salary.
years.
That's someone's salary for the year.
Discipline, vision, determination, all of it, right? That people can't even save $1,000, Alex. You were able to just like, whoa. Now, let me ask you, while you were saving up $2K, did you have to change up your lifestyle, or were you able to keep it?
A small bit, man. I never stopped living. I've always taken vacations. Since I've, started being a barber and everything, I've always had that. I didn't, like I said, I never really had bad habits. I have some nice things, but like my debt to income is not a lot. I have nice things that I should have, like a nice car and a nice home. I don't have, a lot of crazy. So I don't have a boat.
Alex.
I don't have jet skis.
Bro, that's not yet. So let me touch on that real quick.
Jonathan, there's a process to get that.
Yeah.
If I'd have took the $70K and said, all right, man, I got $70,000. I'm finna go buy the new Mercedes Benz. I never get there. So you have to have that discipline not to have that until it's your time. See, a lot of people these days, like you see the social media and they call it capping. Y'all know about capping?
Yeah.
All right. So everybody want to do all of that before it's their time.
Now they want to do all that before they put in that prep work.
Yeah. I just
So
bought my
what
first
age
pair.
are you when you start your own business? Because a lot of people, like you said, they want to be 21 and be where you're at 21.
Right.
What age
Yeah.
are you at?
Yeah. Right. At this point, what am I? I'm 34.
34 years old.
Yeah. So that last December, I bought my first pair of diamond earrings at 44 years old.
Dang.
And fake
What's
it
up,
till you
man?
make it. Wear the fake diamonds until you get the real money.
Yeah.
Bro, that's so nuts to me. Is like at 34 years, I mean, even now, you're still a young buck. Dude. Like, you have so much time, so much experience still to live. And I think that old school mindset that a lot of us millennials have been brought up in is, you go to college. When you're out of college, you got to have a job, and by your 30, you have your house, kids, and you have it all figured out by then. And what you've proven just now is that we got so much time. Like, you could start your career at 40
baby.
and still have plenty of time to do stuff.
We got time.
I think that's the problem, man. I think right there is we want to be Alex at age 21, bro. Without all the hard work that you went through and experiences and the getting fired multiple times and leaving.
I've been fired.
And being back against the wall.
I'm a good guy, and I've been fired as a barber. It's crazy to me too. But y'all got like the hard work part. There's several nights that I had where I would be driving home and I would call my parents and I would be like, man, this is tough, man. And I'm like, it's 9 o'clock. I'm just leaving the barbershop. It's dark. Just thinking of like having a family, stuff. I'm like, this would be impossible if I had a wife and children at home. They would probably hate me because the kids are asleep, the wife is frustrated. So a lot of that stuff were sacrificed in the journey, to be honest with you. But
it's worth it.
Well, yeah.
We're put on this world to live in abundance, Alex, right? And don't ever be ashamed of having those jet skis or having whatever the case you may want, man. We're put on this earth to live in abundance. And I think, that gets shamed on too much, right? Mm-hmm. So I want to go back, and this is the point where the guys, we're going to ask you some questions.
Okay.
And, a wonderful story, how you just came from a work ethic of hard work, grind, a soldier on the field. So you know what? I can do my own thing. And then making that leap with your back against the wall, hitting adversity, saving up $70K, which is almost unheard of for 3 years that is crazy to me, Alex. So much respect for that. And then for you being here now and, doing well. Now we're going to ask a couple questions, but I got to ask one.
Okay.
Do you read books, brother? Self-development books? Like, who taught you the game? Who inspired you? Was it books? Did you? Was it your dad? Because your dad had a lot of influence. Your dad was an entrepreneur, brother.
Yeah.
Your dad did his own thing.
I think I saw it more the time that I grew up in, and it wasn't just my dad. A lot of, like I said, a lot of people around that time were into stuff like that. Finding their niche and more trades. I grew up around more trades than I did people making having jobs and everything. So everything was more of like, can you turn this into a business? I've seen a lot of things that I could have turned to a business. So that's where a lot of that comes from. I don't read. I want to get into books. I definitely tell my mom that I wish she would have made us read more. And if you got little kids, please put a book in their hands, man. It's so important. I got some very smart friends that I'll be like, man, I wish I, had this knowledge. There are some things that I pay for, like an accountant, that I feel like if I would have had, these tools the focus that I needed, like when it was time to learn in like grade school, it could have definitely saved me more money. the things that I want to do to go forward, it's definitely gonna take some more studying. I want to do a lot, Jonathan. I feel like I'm at the beginning, bro.
Oh, it is. It's just the beginning, dude. I'm telling you. So real quick, you didn't have a mentor when you decided, hey, I want to do a business. You didn't have a coach telling you like, hey, Alex, you need to go this route. You need to go this route. Try that bank. You need to do this. You didn't have a coach.
I had, like I said, I had my financial advisor that had a few connections that didn't work out, but he did definitely help me with some investments and stuff like that at the time. I was a small time investor. I never got into it. I see people making a lot of money on that stuff now, but I got out of it. But I kind of like been in my own lane. I've just been like, I don't know, I'm creating, my own thing. Yeah, I don't have.
You jump first,
yeah,
and you let everyone know you behind you. Like, hey, it's good over here.
Yeah, I have no blueprint, but I feel like I'm leaving one.
No, you definitely are. You definitely are, which is why we're having this conversation. Y'all got any questions? I got more, but I'm gonna let y'all talk.
Yeah. So, you said a lot of your family was already kind of like they did hair in the past. Did you already know a little bit like how to cut hair before you went to barber school?
My first apartment complex, I had a pair of clippers, and a couple guys would come by the house to get jacked up, man. We didn't have all the social media, and we didn't take pictures of everything then, but I guarantee you, these guys that was coming to my apartment to get a haircut were getting jacked up. So I always say every man should have some type of barbering knowledge, a little skill. Like, y'all have beards and you can't make it to the barbershop. You got to clean yourself up a little bit. And I think every man should know how to do that. Just a little bit, man. You never know what might happen between your barbershop visits.
You're gonna have to teach me, because I've jacked this up I don't know how many times, and I've had to shave it gone. My wife's like, no, we're done. Either you let it grow and it gets grizzly, you learn how to cut it. So I'm gonna have to pay you a visit.
Oh
soon.
yeah, man. And like I told you, I grew up in a small town, so I never sat in a barber chair until I was a man. I had never experienced that. So the haircuts that we got coming up were definitely part of who we are today. There's a lot of barbers that come out of Rockdale too. For whatever reason, man, it's several of us. It's kind of, for a small town, there's several barbers that made it out of there.
I got guys.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your favorite type of hairstyle to cut, and what's your least favorite hairstyle to cut?
Oh man.
Mexicans.
I didn't say type of person. I said type of hairstyle.
I just love to make a man feel like, or see him. A haircut is something that you do, like you can make somebody brand new. You come in there and you all jacked up and everything, and to see just the lining of it all and the fading, I love that. So the taper fade is definitely my favorite cut to do. My least favorite, probably like somebody who probably should have went to a salon
Styling.
to get a haircut.
Right.
The styling. Yeah, I'm not really the best with the shears and the styling of hair. So I can do it. I've never got a bad grade for it, but I would rather someone else.
Yeah, cutting hair is an art. Like I love just like Jonathan brought up those Instagram photos or videos. Like I watch those all the time. Like it's mesmerizing. Yeah, I've always been big I've always been big on hair. So yeah, like when someone does a good job, like you definitely don't want to lose that person.
Yeah, definitely. The building of clients, I don't even call them clients no more. These are friends. But being a barber, as long as I have, it's more relationships. Even like Jonathan, him and his boys get cut by one of my other barbers, but I notice him every time he comes in there, and we definitely keep up with each other through, social media, working out, and passing, we say things here or there as we go, but you know, these are relationships that I cherish. You know, I don't want to break it down to you know, a business relationship with these guys. It's hard for me to meet new people, and at the stage of my career, because I'm not. I feel like I've given it so much, like it's hard for me to like break myself down to somebody new. Jonathan knows about me, you know, the people that I cut know about me, so I don't have to go into the whole spiel of who I am and who are you, and that's at this point that's exhausting for me. But I got plenty barbers that are ready for that type of work conversation.
At this point, Alex, I wake up at 3 a.m. Monday through Friday. And when I get my haircut, honestly, I don't even want to talk. Like, it puts me to sleep. Like, I'm there to relax. Like, that buzzing noise, like Cynthia, she cuts my hair. Sometimes I'm like, oh, my bad. Like, it just feels like it's a relaxing state for me. I love it. Like, man, she just on it, making me feel good. I'm like, yo, I might fall asleep. Just keep my head up. And she's like, all right.
Yeah, and Cynthia is a beast, man.
She's from Rockdale, like you.
She is from my hometown as well.
Nice. Alex, I got one more question for you, man. So your journey is awesome. It's amazing. You've gone through trials and tribulations as it is, but owning a business that requires you to be almost in somebody's face and in their personal bubble. I'm kind of curious, if you don't mind me asking, how did the pandemic really affect your business? And of that, what new tricks did you learn or develop from what you experienced from this past pandemic, or the pandemic we're in, actually?
Well, one thing that I remember my barber school instructor told me, when I graduated barber school, we was in some type of recession. There was a lot of people losing their homes and everything and losing their jobs. And he told me, he said, Alex, never claim any of that. He said, none of that stuff will affect you when you become a barber. You know, when the world is doing bad, don't get into these, I'm doing bad too type. No. And I've realized through the years that nothing really affects as far as barbering. Coronavirus was the first true effect of the barbershop. I don't care what a man went through. I've seen clients lose their job, and the first place they come is the barbershop to feel better. And when it was time to get another job, when they had an interview, they had to come back to us for that. So we never stopped. There was never a time where we miss people. They might cut us out here or there. Maybe if they came every week, they might jump the bi-weekly here or there or whatever, but we never took losses. So when the fear of coronavirus came, it was such a fear that it was just a year ago, because I saw it on my Snapchat, because I did a snap of what the barbershop looked like. All my barbers was sitting around, and it was probably like a Friday or something, and nobody was in the shop because everybody was scared to be around people. So it definitely, in that beginning stages last year around this time, I had never seen nothing like that before, and it was scary. I had no, I'm gonna take you look back a little further. Coronavirus hit like January, February. In January, I had a meeting with my guys. I was about to open my third barbershop. So here we are in March, and they shut the world down. And so that kind of took me away from opening a third shop. But anyways, so that was the effect of coronavirus. So going forward, once everything came, I remember Cinco de Mayo, they announced that I was outside barbecuing. They announced that we could go back to the barbershops and salons and everything. And we get back, and it's people abundance. They coming in, man. Like, they ain't had no haircut in 2 months. They ready. They got their mask on and everything. So I knew, like, okay, this is a good start. A couple weeks in, it slowed down again. You got people. I needed it that one time. Now I'm back scared. So it had an effect. Going forward, we haven't had many scares. I have like 25 barbers. Only one of them has caught the virus. So we definitely had our fears up with the hand sanitizers, masks, gloves. We did a lot of that. And honestly, I think what keeps us good is because we're not actually in face to face with clients. Most of the time I'm behind you. And so if you're speaking to me, you're speaking out, and I'm speaking, from the back. So you're not really breathing, or I'm not breathing. I don't know. That's kind of what I figure may be keeping us safe more than anything. Is it's like we're not actually face to face.
I got one last question, my man.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you still cut hair?
Oh man, you know what? The biggest thing is I've always known I was different as far as being reliable. I show up. And the hardest thing for me to do is take the clients that I've shown up to for the last 14 years and hand them off to somebody who don't treat them the same. So with my relationships that I've built have kept me into this. Like I say, these are friends, family. I don't look at all my clients as clients. Some of them, of course, you pick up new ones here or there, but most of these people, I know everything about them. Just the relationships, they keep me in it. And of course, financially, it's a great business. I don't think people do the simple math of barbering. At the base, we making like $25 a haircut. Most experienced barbers can do 3 haircuts an hour. That's at the bottom, $75 an hour without tips. So, that's not money that I just feel like I could just walk away from. Now, right?
Yeah.
You're walking away from a job that pays them $75 an hour at the base.
So,
and it's a simple math that a lot of people don't do when they say, well, you want to cut hair, they don't make any money. Well, do the math. These people are paying a lot for haircuts, and they come often. My most expensive haircut is like $50. I have some clients that pay for that, so everybody ain't paying just $25.
yeah.
So,
If you can leave advice for any young barber, what would it be?
show up. I just had this. The first thing you do is make yourself available. If you can clock in for a company 40 hours a week, if you're an independent contractor, barber, beautician, locksmith, I think if you can do 40 hours for somebody else, you can do 50 for yourself. So make yourself available, at least for the first few years, to establish yourself. Second of all, your customer service. Be a good person. Even on social media, don't put a lot of crap out for people to judge you on. Live a life that people can be proud of you when they see you. When people come into your shop, or if you're a barber, treat people with respect. It's gonna come back. Third of all, have a good skill. Third is your skill. So first is showing up. Second is your customer service. Third is your skill. If you had the first two, people will give you time to pick up the third. If your customer service and you're not available, you'll never make it to your third.
Chick-fil-A. Got to be the Chick-fil-A, brother.
Chick-fil-A. Oh my God, please, Chick-fil-A, show us how you got these employees on track. I love Chick-fil-A. I wish my barbers would work like Chick-fil-A employees. I know that's impossible. But if sometimes I say, I wish I would have worked there so I knew the training process.
The system.
The
system. It all starts with recruiting. It starts with recruiting.
Right.
You put good people on your team, you're going to win. You put people you're uneasy about.
Yeah. Barbering is tough. Y'all know I say change the game. That's my motto. And that's what I try to do. And that's why I go back to the school. And then, some of my young barbers, I try to work with them because I want change. And I want this to be looked upon as a successful business, like with good people in it. I've seen enough of the bad, and I'm one that's willing to put it out there for change. I want to give you the blueprint to change, to get more out of it. I've never been selfish as far as the things I've learned. You can ask me anything. I feel like I'm a barber dictionary at this point, and I mean that might sound cocky, but it ain't nothing that I don't know.
You're trying to give back. No, you're trying to give back. You're trying to do good. You're trying to pass the baton.
No way. I cannot cut all the hair in Austin by myself.
There you
I'm trying
go,
to
brother.
give it back.
We need a team.
You need a team.
Guys. I mean, that's good enough for me to wrap it right there. Alex, bro, I appreciate it. I didn't know all that stuff about you. I do now have so much more respect for you, and I can't wait for my son to listen to this podcast because he's pretty
Oh man,
excited
that's
and stoked
awesome.
about it. Fellas,
So
y'all
Yeah,
are lit.
where can the audience find you on social
my
media?
my Instagram is most valuable _ barber. And you'll see that I do a lot of other stuff also. A little more, yeah.
You did a little
I do
IG
a little
modeling.
working out. I don't really do a lot of haircut stuff. I'm starting to now because, like I said, I just went to the school and I got a little bit more followers that cut hair, so I can start putting a little more out there. Once you get so far in the barber game, it's hard to like promote yourself to say, come see me, because you barely have room for the people you're dealing with. But I definitely do Instagram. You'll see barber stuff on there. And, of course, working out. Most valuable _ barber. And then my Facebook is Alex Morrison. Just go on there and you get it all. Facebook is, where the family and friends are. So I
That's the
keep everything
community.
easy, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's all
Wow,
fun.
man. Well, once again, I want to appreciate for you taking your time out. Like that shows right there that you took an hour and a half of your
Yeah.
Sunday to come out and get the blueprint, to give back.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
yes, I love
To
it,
give
man.
back.
I really appreciate y'all inviting me on here. This is one of the few times that I can, in the comfort of my home, be like just myself and don't have to be emotional. I've always hated when like news crews would come out to talk to me, because Generations was my baby and I get emotional about it. I'm here, I'm by myself. I could just be free, and I
Chilling.
appreciate y'all inviting me on here.
No, for sure. End this out, Ian.
Well, Alex, thanks again, sir, for your time. If you need a fresh fade, I'm sure he can help you out. I'm gonna be giving you a call soon.
Come on,
I'm gonna
man.
keep it short and sweet for us all. As proven today by Mr. Alex himself, we are born to be great. The world is your playground. Go be great. As always, thanks for joining us today. Until next time, peace and love.